So there are all these rackets that have traditionally maintained the US dollar as a global currency, but they're all susceptible to being attacked. And Eurasia is developing. It is largely sovereign, and it has understood that it needs to stop being fragilized by economic blockades and sanctions and so on. So more and more they're trading outside of the dollar. They're bilateral trade agreements and so on that are developing. And this is kind of flipping out the empire, if you like. And they're looking for a way of getting around this. And I think one of the schemes that they may have in mind is a carbon economy and an e-currency that is tied to that carbon economy. And so this is one of the models that I think they're hoping to install as we shift over here. The biggest, highest level pressure in the world these days is the emergence of China and Eurasia, its military independence, its economic independence, its economic strength, and the fact that it is developing at a high rate and is surpassing the U.S. and the West. So that is really a main concern for the empire right now. So that's why you have military encirclement with NATO and with around China, the sea blockade, almost blockades and so on, and also the economic sanctions and new trade deals and forcing countries to choose between trading with the Eurasian bloc or trading with the Western allied countries and so on. Really, it's really becoming very competitive and very high stress. So at one point, the U.S. believed after the fall of the Soviet Union that it could capture China by investment. So that's one of the ways that you degrade these sovereign nations is you create a wealthy class that will be assimilated to your own wealthy class, that will find more ties and more affinities with the global wealthy class. And it finds more and more ways to have influence within the sovereign nation as well. So that is one of the schemes that they really like to use, that they pushed really hard onto Russia, and they tried to implement in China as well. But it has failed both in Russia and in China. And now they realize that it has failed in China, which is one of the reasons there is this new approach to China now, because they realize it's not going to work. It hasn't worked, and it's in a sense backfired because China has continued to develop and has kept its sovereignty. And I think the reason that China and Russia are able to fight off these things is because they're extremely well organized and they're strategic in their domestic policies, in the policies to protect their economy, to protect their cultures, and so on. They are very strategic, and they have a strong government and government ties and government network that is not easily corrupted. I mean, there's internal corruption of all kinds, as is unavoidable in any system, but they're not corrupted by big external influences, as was attempted in the case of China and Russia recently. There really is a sovereign Eurasia. There really is a sovereign China, a sovereign Russia that have their own systems, really, and that are resilient to being taken over in this way.